What makes a man rise from the narrow streets of Providence to become the most beloved judge in the world? Was it fate, luck, or something hidden deep in his childhood? Frank Caprio's story begins not in a grand courtroom, but in a small Italian American neighborhood where life was tough, money was short, and dreams often faded before they even started. Yet, this young boy carried something different in his heart: compassion. How does a Shushan boy, a dishwasher, and a struggling student grow into a symbol of kindness and justice? What lessons did his father, a simple fruit peddler, whisper into his ears that stayed with him forever? And most importantly, could those humble beginnings be the secret behind the warmth we later saw in his courtroom? These are questions that take us back to where it all started: the childhood of Frank Caprio, the boy who would one day teach the world that mercy can sit beside justice. Before he ever wore the robe, Frank Caprio was a teacher, a soldier, and a young man who believed in serving people before himself. Imagine him, chalk in hand, teaching American government to high school students during the day and at night, burning the midnight oil in law school. What kind of determination does it take to juggle both, knowing that every step forward could change not just his life, but the lives of so many others? He joined the Rhode Island Army National Guard, learning discipline and resilience, lessons that would later echo in his courtroom. Then, at just 26, he entered politics, elected to the Providence City Council. Think about it. Most people at that age are still finding their path, but Caprio was already shaping his city's future. Was this ambition, or was it destiny quietly pulling him? Whatever it was, these years built the foundation of a man who saw leadership as service, not power. Frank Caprio's journey to the bench wasn't just about law. It was about love for his community. Long before his name was known across the world, he was quietly building bridges in Providence. He set up scholarships in his father's honor so that children from families like his own, poor, struggling, but full of hope, could get the education they deserved. Why would a judge busy with his own career care so deeply about students he didn't even know? Because he remembered the nights when his parents worked tirelessly, the days when education felt like the only way out. Caprio believed that opportunity was the greatest gift you could give someone. Each scholarship wasn't just money, it was a message. You matter. Your dreams are worth it. Doesn't it make you wonder how many lives were changed quietly, without cameras, without applause? This devotion to community proved that his real legacy wasn't just justice, it was hope. When Frank Caprio finally stepped into the role of judge, something extraordinary happened. His courtroom didn't feel like a cold chamber of law. It felt like a place where humanity still breathed. Picture this: a nervous father explaining why he couldn't pay a parking fine because his child was sick, or an elderly woman struggling to keep up with the rules of the city. In most courts, these stories would be brushed aside, but with Caprio, every face, every tear, every excuse was heard with patience. Why did millions around the world get hooked watching a simple municipal court on TV? Because what we saw wasn't just law, it was kindness wrapped in justice. Caught in Providence turned him into a global figure, not for being harsh, but for being human. Isn't it rare, almost shocking, to see a judge smile, laugh, or even forgive? That's why his courtroom became a beacon of hope in a world often starved of compassion. In his later years, Frank Caprio faced a battle no courtroom could prepare him for. On his 87th birthday, he revealed to the world that he was fighting pancreatic cancer. a disease as ruthless as it is unforgiving. The man who once brought comfort to so many now asked humbly for prayers. Can you imagine the weight of that moment? The same judge who listened to the struggles of strangers was now laying bare his own pain. Yet even then, he didn't speak with bitterness. Instead, he shared gratitude for his life, his family, and the countless people who stood by him. How many of us, in our darkest hours, could still shine with such grace? His courage turned into yet another lesson. Strength is not the absence of fear, but the choice to keep faith alive. His final chapter wasn't just about illness. It was about showing the world how to face life's end with dignity and hope. When the end finally came on August 20, 2025, Providence lost more than a judge. It lost a heartbeat of compassion. The news of Frank Caprio's passing spread like wildfire, leaving millions across the world in quiet shock. How could a man who sat in such a small courtroom touch hearts across oceans? At his funeral, held in the Grand Saints Peter and Paul Cathedral, people gathered not just to mourn, but to celebrate a life that had lifted so many spirits. Flags were lowered, tributes poured in, and stories flooded social media, ordinary people recalling how his words once made them feel seen, valued, forgiven. Isn't it amazing that a judge known for traffic tickets became a global symbol of kindness? In that moment, it became clear his true legacy wasn't bound to a bench or a TV show. It lived in every soul he touched. Death may have closed his eyes, but his example keeps opening ours. Even after his passing, Frank Caprio's voice still echoes like a gentle reminder that justice doesn't have to be cold. His life proved something powerful, that kindness, no matter how small, can change the world. Think about it, a boy from a humble neighborhood grows up to show millions that empathy can sit beside the law, that forgiveness can live inside a courtroom, and that every person, no matter how ordinary, deserves to be heard. Isn't that the kind of legacy worth remembering? His story isn't just history. It's a lesson for all of us, a call to carry compassion into our own lives. Because if Frank Caprio could leave behind such light in a world full of struggle, then maybe we can too. If his journey touched you, don't let it fade. Keep it alive. Like, share, and subscribe. So together we continue telling stories of humanity, hope, and the people who inspire us all.